All right, El Nino in the house. Whiskey-A-Go-Go. How you doing today?
Doing really good today, despite the travels that we've just incurred.
You know, it's the trials and tribulations, man, to bring the rock to the people.
Rock and roll, baby. Yeah, our bus AC took a shit. That was fun, traveling through El Paso to Arizona and Las Vegas, and then down here with 100-plus degrees. But we made it through today. Tried to do a lot of driving when the sun was down. Got into LA, my hometown, and of course the traffic hits, which people forget about. I never forget about it. I drive it every day. But we made it here a little bit late, but we made it. We're here on time. We're ready to rock out.
Okay, great. Well, we know the band's been together, for many years. Tell us about the evolution of you joining the band. When did they come on your radar? How did you guys hook up?
I remember being in, I believe, high school, I think, when I saw the band, and I saw them at first in Guitar World magazine, and it said, "Oh, heavy metal band mixing Latin influences, flamenco guitars," and I was like, "Wow, that's right up my alley. I like all that stuff." Went and checked it out, instantly loved it. Became my favorite band. Checked them out every chance I could. Through the years, ended up becoming friends with them. Then in 2006, I got an opportunity to come audition when Jardel decided to stay home. Flew out to New York, and 10 years later of my life, I've been in the band, loving it. Ups and downs, but we love each other. We're family. And now we're halfway through 2015, looking towards 2016. Got more opportunities opening up. The band's going through a nice little resurgence right now. We just came off last year's Mayhem, which we did great on. We're called one of the surprise bands of the entire festival. Our crowds were insane. And it was good to be in front of, crowds that big. I mean, usually when we're in Europe, we have large crowds. In America, like with a lot of the other bands, the crowds aren't necessarily as big as they used to be. And even the high-end bands, a lot of bands that used to be in arenas, now they're going down, scaling it back even more. Whether it's money, whether it's, production, people coming to the shows. Whatever the case is, a lot of people are scaling back here in America, it seems. There's, of course, a few lucky bands that work their asses off and deserve everything they're getting, who get to play in a bunch of big crowds. Like I said, we're going through a little resurgence right now, and it feels really good to come back out and see people calling us out and requesting us. It's nice to see social media saying, "When are you guys coming to my town?" Stuff like that.
Sure. Now, on Mayhem, who are your favorite bands to hang with and check out every day?
I was really good friends with Suicide Silence. Became really good friends with Cannibal Corpse. Was checking them out all the time. Wretched, another band that was that played right before us. We were checking them out. Label mates, obviously. But yeah, it seemed that come to the end of the night, we were really partying with Suicide Silence and Cannibal Corpse, and of course hanging out with friends like Korn and Avenged Sevenfold and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's quite a bill. We're wondering if it's going to happen in San Bernardino day after tomorrow. There's fires all through the.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Fire out there in the San Bernardino Mountains.
Wow.
So I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
I hope it goes through. I mean, I believe tomorrow starts in San Diego.
Well, tomorrow's San Diego, but I mean, they're going to know if the show's canceled or not.
I mean, I hope it goes through. It would suck to cancel a Mayhem date.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they're going to pull it off as they can, but there's forces beyond them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Block and
California fire season.
Roads, what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. So now, what was the first album that you had a chance to contribute
to? My first contribution was actually the EP Undercover Sessions. Okay. That's when I formally joined. They had just finished One Nation Underground. I joined the tail end of that cycle. So my first fingerprints were on the EP Undercover Sessions, and then we did Enigma, did New World Epidemia, and our latest one, Till Death La Familia.
Okay. And what's the process like as far as the creation of new songs? I mean, obviously, people bring in ideas, but take us inside the process.
Well, we all live in different areas of the country, but technology makes it so easy for us. We all have our own little recording system at home, and it's just as simple as plugging in the guitar in my computer, coming up with a few riffs, mailing them off to the other guys, and what do you guys think about this? Do you like it? Do you don't like it? It's very convenient to just sit in my living room and do it. Obviously, when it comes down to recording the real tracks, we're going to step into a real studio, which usually we go to Aru, the guitar player, has a studio in Denver that we usually use for our guitar tracking. But yeah, it's just simple, man. Like I actually prefer it that way. We did Enigma. We all lived together, and while it was a cool experience, 6 dudes living together who are with each other for almost 20 hours a day, it kind of starts rubbing you the wrong way at times. But not that didn't have its ups, but it's just my personal preference.
Yeah. Well, it's one upside of the technology is to be able to be in remote locations.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, the challenge is with the streaming and the stealing the music is to try and figure out how to get the fans to support the bands. And
of course,
T-shirts, the shows are great, but we all came up in a time we'd be lined up at Tower Records or Licorice Pizza. Or
every Tuesday.
You know what I mean?
Every Tuesday you'd get new CDs.
I was at midnight at Tower to get the record on a Monday.
And it was such a bummer. Like I remember going to the Tower over here, and or anywhere, I remember New York City Tower, and yeah, it was really cool, and there was like a sense of pride knowing that I grabbed the CD the day it came out, and because I loved the bands, growing up, I knew where my favorite bands were on tour. I knew what cities they were playing, and I knew when the closest to me were, and if there was driving distance, I would go to multiple shows. There's still a few fans out there like that, but it's becoming so far and few between. It's kind of a bummer. I don't know if it's just like too much accessibility, and I don't want to. We take pride in the fact that we're very cordial with our fans and we hang out with them, but there's a sense of mystery that's gone now from musicians and fans. Yeah. And, of course, everybody thinks they can do this, and a lot of people can, but a lot of people can't. I've seen people come and go. Whether it's musicians, crew guys, they all think they can do this and they want to do this, and they jump in and they get their shot and they just burn out and run away.
Yeah. It's the athleticism, the perseverance, the dedication, the sacrifice it takes.
That's the big one, is the sacrifice. And people forget, like I haven't seen my family in a month. Of course I miss them, they miss me. It's not the easiest thing in the world, especially when circumstances when your bus breaks down and you got band members getting sick, and even me today, I'm feeling a little exhausted just from the heat. Trying to sleep in the heat, man, it's just like the worst. I don't do well with heat to begin with, even being from California. I sleep with the AC on during the winter. But yeah, it's just the sacrifices that people are willing or not willing to accomplish to really do it, and then, there's the few and the proud that are out here trudging away, whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, we're here.
You got to find those little victories, the little things to save.
And every show has those for us. Sometimes the greatest shows we play, honestly, in front of the smallest crowds. We had you remember what was that show where the kids were crazy? Lubbock, Texas. Okay. We played Jake's Backroom in Lubbock, Texas. And Lubbock is a town where it's a hit or miss for us. We've done great shows. We've done okay shows. But this one happened to be just one of those, like, maybe it was not packed, maybe just barely over 100 kids. But they were absolutely insane. And when that kind of stuff happens, I played in front of, thousands of people that are just sitting there staring at me, and I'm bored out of my mind because I really thrive off the energy of the crowd. And when the crowd's not interacting with us or going off, I feel like I'm not doing my job right. And then I actually start feeling like vulnerable on stage, almost like, the superhero costume starting to, get some holes and chinks and stuff like that. And, but the crowds, when they're small and crazy, like they were in Lubbock, those absolutely just push me to play even harder, jump higher, and interact more. And those sometimes end up being the most fun.
Feels like they're part of the band.
Absolutely, they're jumping on stage and they're rocking their heads with you and singing the words. And man, there's nothing like that. Of course, we all want to be playing in front of hundreds of thousands of people. Because that in itself has a lot of energy. But, to get in front of 100 people and they're singing all the words, rocking out, starting a pit, sure. Slipping around. We got the radio DJ in the pit, having a great time, sweating his ass off. Those are the little victories that we take away sometimes, and we're like, man, that was really fun. That was a really good show,
That's great. Well, I know the Latin blood in you definitely is proud to be a part, you know, of this band, and you want the band to stand on its own no matter what
Of course.
denomination. But what makes it special to also collaborate with some of the other, you know, Latinos like, you know, Max and Soulfly, or, you know, Chino and Deftones, or, you know, you see that camaraderie out there that you know there's something else connects you besides the music.
It feels good. There's definitely something that, you know, a culture such as ours shares. Like, you can't name it something, you can't call it anything. It's just this weird connection that other people may have with each other as well. You know, not just say it's a Brown thing or whatever, but it is a certain thing, whether it's the rhythm, whether it's, you know, the movement or something. There is definitely a connection, and it's inspiring, you know, to know that you can share this with a lot of people, you know. And, you know, we can joke around being like, you know, brown metal, Latin metal, you know, people still trying to figure it out. But, I mean, it's there. It's not going nowhere. We're here to stay. You know, we're fortunate. That's the best way I can put it. We're really fortunate to be a part of this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, obviously the Hispanic population in America grows every year, and, you know, they can take pride that they have, you know, bands like yourself. But obviously, like I said, the music stands on its own, so you certainly don't have to be of a certain race,
Yeah,
you know, to love what you do. Now, tell us about some of the other collaborations you guys have done, because I see like Jamie Jasta's getting on a song, or Mikey Dolan from Snot. You know, talk about, you know, what that means to the band to kind of collaborate with an outside party and mix it up.
one of the most recent collaborations we had was with Frankie from Muir, and that was really cool. I mean, he's got that distinct, you know, growl that's, when it comes out, you know, that's Frankie. You know, and being label mates with Muir, you know, it was really cool to have somebody who grew up listening to the band be a part of a track, who, you know, really gave it his all, because he had love for the band, and the band inspired him to do what he does now. You know, and it's something that we would look forward to doing with anybody. You know, we joke around. We would love to collaborate with Santana. You know, that would be an amazing thing to do. Would it ever happen? We don't know. We hope so. You know, the collaboration in itself brings and opens, you know, new doors, new musical avenues for us, and pushes us in different directions that we might not be comfortable in, but could create something that's just amazing for not only for us but for the fans. You know, and it's good to have different artists working with each other. You know, even if it's like a painter, two painters, you know, collaborating, or a sculptor and a painter. You know, it just opens artistic avenues for the artist, and that's something that we're always looking for. And sometimes we just need a kick in the ass, you know.
Like a ball team, somebody comes off the bench and
Yeah.
it's another chemistry.
Yeah, exactly. You know, opening up those avenues that, you know, my strengths might be someone else's weakness that I can contribute, and vice versa. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Talk about, you know, the importance of chemistry, because we talked about the sacrifice and the dedication and all that. To be a unit that not only performs at its best on stage, but gets along off stage. Like you say, you need a little time apart, but what is it about, like, the mutual respect or the admiration for each other, or, you know, what is the importance of the chemistry to really have a tight unit?
Chemistry is everything, in my opinion. You know, and we're, again, a very fortunate group that we just feed off each other's vibes. I know when I'm going to move left, that Aru's going to move right, and it's like just completely almost syncopated. Like, people ask us, are you choreographing stuff? And we're like, no, we just feel it. We just vibe it. You know, that goes along with just how much time we spend with each other. You know, another joke is like, we know who farts in the bus when, you know, we hear it. We know the sounds. We know the odors. You know, silly things like that. It's like we're really a family on wheels. You know, again, our strengths, our weaknesses. We really just complement each other. And we're lucky. The band's been around for over 15 years. You know, despite the lineup changes, the right people fell into the right positions. And again, it's just a fortunate thing for us.
Sure. And when with the latest record, what are you most proud of seeing as far as the progress or the risk you're taking? Or the
it was a record that we tried to really touch on the old school El Nino roots, and we really think that we accomplished it. You know, even though the tones and the sounds might be a little different, an old school El Nino fans can listen to it and be like, oh, okay, that's like a familiar progression, or that's a familiar, you know, melody or something like that. And we really think that we accomplished that, you know, and to see the fans really gravitating towards the new songs. I mean, we just added a new song into the set list 2 days ago. We just started Blood is Thicker Than Water, and people knew the words, and people are, you know, dancing along with it. And, you know, it's really uplifting to see that the fans are still sticking around, you know, and bringing new people with them. And some of our fans are now parents themselves, and they're bringing their children to the shows. And, you know, it's just an enormous compliment to see something like that.
Sure. Well, we know the dedication and sacrifice, but what other advice do you give to those young bands? Because there's always somebody trying to do what you're doing, somebody in the garage trying to come up to the Mayhem or the Whiskey-A-Go-Go level. They're, you know, they got fantasies in their eyes. You don't want to, you know, kill their dream, but at the same time, you got to give them a reality check. What do you tell them?
I would tell them 3 things: is be realistic. You know, of course, we all want to do it. You know, can you do it? Are you willing to make the sacrifices? Are you ready to make the sacrifices? You know, because it's not just being away from your family. There's a lot of financial sacrifices we make. You know, we're not out here making a ton of money. You know, a lot of the times we're doing it for the love of it. You know, another thing to be is remember it is a job, and just like you punch a clock 9 to 5. We might not be punching a clock, but we are going to work. You know, it's not one big party. Like, you know, it's not like you see back in the days when people were in this very room trashing and throwing bottles and stuff like that. It's a job. Remember that it is a job, you know.
And the bands these days out on Mayhem or whatever, they run like military operations. They're professional. They're on
Exactly.
time. Everybody hits the stage on time.
The people that last the longest treat it as a job, and they're extremely professional. You know, there's a lot of fun to be had, but there's a lot of work that comes first. You know, I don't wake up, get out of bed, and, you know, chug on a bottle of whiskey. That's not my thing. I mean, a price to pay. You know, I know that if I, you know, hang out at night and drink a little too much, I'll be hurting in the morning. I still got to make sure I get my ass up, get on stage and perform, because if not, I let down every person that paid that ticket to be in here, you know, and then, exactly, I let them down, and I would feel ashamed for that, you know, I'm not doing my job, and that's one of the most important things. It's a job. If you plan on making it your career, just like any other thing, you have to make sure that you advance and prove to the higher ups, whoever they may be, that you deserve that position, you know. We all want that nice paycheck. We've got to work for it. It doesn't come, you know.
Diego, it's a real pleasure, man.
Thank you very much.
See you rock tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Keep rocking, man.
Thank you, bro.